Hello, gorgeous folks. It's Darice. Welcome to Moonlight Astro. And please take a moment to subscribe to the channel if have not already done so. Please also like this video. It does help me grow the channel. Just coming in briefly today to talk to you about some upcoming astrological transits for this weekend. We have a few which are going to be very powerful and supportive of you. So, although some people might have questions about the support part behind the Mars retrograde, but I'll get into that in a minute. But basically, we have the big one. Mars will be going retrograde on December 6th. And we also have a Venus-Pluto conjunction. And we also have the Sun opposing Jupiter. Neptune will be going direct, and Venus will be entering Aquarius. So it's quite a lot. And I know you're all thinking, okay, my God, what does all that gobbledygook mean? So let me get into it. Now, basically, Mars going retrograde is about, well, Mars can represent our action in the world, our passion, our bravery. It can also represent anger, aggression, war. It's considered one of the malefics in astrology. It's super powerful. And typically, when Mars goes retrograde, which happens every 2 years, we often end up reevaluating how we do work. And I think that'll definitely be the case since it's starting while we're in the middle of a Mercury retrograde as well. But usually you're kind of forced into the change with a Mars retrograde, like you don't see it coming. So this is why sometimes people they're not crazy about Mars retrogrades. But I also think it's an invitation to reevaluate our connection to anger, our connection to our personal power, our sense of personal empowerment. I feel Mars retrogrades bring that up for people. They show us where we need to be, well, what needs to be addressed. If we're not expressing our anger enough, or if we're expressing it too much or in a way that's unhealthy. At the end of the day, I feel like our connection to our rage and our power, they're connected. Our experience of our rage is an expression of our personal power. And I think a Mars retrograde does that for people. And we're going to be talking about this for a while because it goes through February. So let's see what else we have going on here. So I guess on that tip with the Mars retrograde, if you want some self-reflection prompts, you can journal or sit down and meditate about what is your relationship to anger. Do you currently have any unresolved frustrations that may be bubbling up or that are still simmering under the surface for you? And how do you actually assert your personal power in your life? Are you using it effectively, or is it overcompensating for some deficiencies in other areas? You can also journal again, as always, on boundaries, looking at your triggers, and given everything that's happening in the collective, I know many of us out there are having a lot of triggers. So this is definitely a good time to set aside some time to journal or take a long walk and just reflect on these things. And actually, walking exercise is a great way to move through some of the frustrations and the challenges that a Mars retrograde can bring up for people. So, implementing a good physical routine or exercise routine or new meditation practice, breath work, bringing back yoga into your life. If you used to do that sort of thing and you've fallen off the wagon, Mars retrogrades are a good time to do that. Anything that helps you get out that excess energy in a physical way. And breath work can actually be quite physical if you've never done it. So that could be one way to exercise these heightened emotions. Now, on December 7th, we also have Venus joining together with Pluto and the Sun opposing Jupiter. Now, Venus conjunct Pluto. Venus is about our values. It can also represent our relationship to money. Pluto currently just recently re-entered Aquarius. Pluto is often about where we need to transform, the death, birth, rebirth cycle often. And so when they come together, there can be depth and intensity in your relationships. There could be things that come up for you around your money or how your relationship to money is reflecting your values, either personally or professionally. You may end up in some power dynamics with people. You may need to look at which professional relationships in particular may need some type of transformation, or it might suddenly become very obvious to you what's not working in some of those professional partnerships. So you can look for that around December 6th, December 7th. We also have the sun opposing Jupiter. The sun is our identity, our sense of self, how we see ourselves in the world. Jupiter brings expansion to pretty much anything it touches. So there may be a sense of energy expanding within you, or maybe there's a desire to express yourself in a bigger, bolder way. But you want to uh, be aware that this might also lead to wanting to overindulge or maybe overpromise, especially since we are in the holiday season and we often have a lot of people asking things of us, or you may want to go overboard in terms of all the activities that you can pack into your schedule and all the gifts you want to get for people and all the meals you want to make, all the joie de vivre in the air. That sun opposing Jupiter might make you feel like you can take it all on. You can do everything. Just take a step back, take a breath, and really look at the big picture and ask yourself, honestly, what can I really commit to? What do I actually have the bandwidth for? Just be mindful of that sort of thing. This is also a good time to be looking at your personal relationships, what's out of alignment. Um, Maybe there are some boundaries, again, that need to be strengthened or reinforced. Just with everything that's happening collectively, I'm going to keep hammering in that for like probably the next couple of months, especially during this Mars retrograde. As we're going through it, we still have Jupiter and Gemini. And so there's a lot of boasting and braggadocio energy in the air. So people can get a little persnickety. I guess that's a word for it. Um, I think this is a good time of year too to just keep scheduling regular check-ins with ourselves, since there's so many activities going on and there's a lot happening. And you may also want to schedule a check-in with a key partner, either romantically or professionally. Just like really double check, say, hey, are we really on the same page about X, Y, Z? There might be a lot of assumptions on both sides. And so it's just good to check in and make sure that both parties are moving in the same direction. I think that's the best way to put that. We also have Venus entering Aquarius, and Neptune is going to be stationing direct. Now, Venus in Aquarius, that could also help us bring a certain analytical energy to how we look at our partnerships, our relationships. Aquarius is often very systematic in its thinking. And so when Venus in Aquarius happens, well, I actually have Venus in Aquarius in my natal chart. And so often my knee-jerk approach to relationships is that the intellectual part, like that's what really like excites me. Like that's typically what I'm attracted to when it comes to romantic partners, is the geeky intellectual types. And but when Venus is traveling through Aquarius during this time of year, it's also a good invitation to take an analytical and intellectual approach to our partnerships, both romantic and professional. I think, I think it's a good time to do what Aquarius does really well, is detach in terms of being able to look at the bigger picture, not detachment in a cold, aloof way, although sometimes it comes off that way, but the motivation behind that detachment, often I experience, it's about needing to just take a look at the overall picture of the relationship. How is it working for both of us? Where are we growing? Where are we stagnant? And what are some practical ways to address that? So it's a good time to take a look at that as well. Neptune is also going to be turning direct on December 7th. And Neptune represents our fantasy, imagination, the dream world, and it can also represent our spiritual growth, our spiritual expansion. So it's a good time to look back at, where have you grown in those areas, say the last few months, and also what do you want in terms of your spiritual pursuits, and how is your spirituality being reflected in your professional life, in your business? I think many of the solopreneurs who are attracted to the work I do are very spiritual people, and we want our businesses to reflect our spiritual values. But I think it's also important that it represent our spiritual growth and expansion as well. And Neptune going direct is an opportunity to look at that, to take a little check in, say the last few months or even all of this year. How have I seen my spiritual growth and expansion be reflected in my work, in my business? So, some other opportunities with Neptune going direct as well is that it can also dissolve illusions around money and financial partnerships. And it can also help dissolve any illusions around those romantic relationships. So, again, connecting back to that Venus and Aquarius energy, looking at the bigger picture. Those happening at the same time, the same day, December 7th, I think it highlights the opportunity to have that clarity. And for some of us, that may feel like cold water being splashed on the face. There may be some startling revelations that come to you over the weekend. And if that is the case, breathe, ground, and know that this too shall pass. And you have all that you need inside you to help you, and the universe has got your back. Now, some other potential opportunities that might help you move through some of this energy as well is taking time to brainstorm, maybe even do a vision board on some potential new alliances and new systems that you'd like to implement. This could also be a good weekend to explore tracking your resources or trying new financial planning methods. Or if not this weekend, you can at least put it on the calendar to look at it next week. But basically, in a nutshell, I think all of this astrology is inviting us to ultimately reflect on our personal power, deepen or question our relationships, both romantic and professional, our platonic friendships as well. And it's also inviting us to stay open to innovative partnerships and new clarity around the kind of partnerships we want to imagine and experience and bring into our lives. And just, I'm encouraging you just to take some time, sit with these things, meditate on them. And, let me know what you come up with. You could just put in the comments, Mars retrograde or Venus in Aquarius, any new ahas that you had listening to this, feel free to share those in the comment. I'm also open for astrology readings, general birth chart readings, so you can click the link below to sign up for those. For the month of December, I will be doing a special, so half off on my astrology reading. So you can go to my website and look at that. And I'm encouraging you all to just, really enjoy and celebrate as much as you can during this holiday season. Find that quality time with friends, loved ones, enjoy that time and, make those memories. This is a time of year where we can do that. And I'm always going to encourage people to do that. I'm wishing you lots of love, peace, and joy. Peacefully yours, Darice.